be habitable. The mere existence of modern weapons, 10 million times more powerful than any that the world has ever seen, and only minutes away from any target on Earth. And unless man can match its strides in weapon and technology, our great strength, like the dinosaur, vanished from the Earth. New horizons of outer space, all reaches of the universe, must not become the new arena of an even colder war.
Right, and we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jonasanez Den. We got a big show for today. Got lots planned out, and now it's time to get ready and dive right into it. So, first off, the first big thing that we got going on that's now been declassified and proven is a classic honeypot operation with Chinese spy FANG FANG, which was compromising at the time Representative Swalwell, which was being compromised by FANG FANG by taking illegal donations and more. They were also being recruited. They were also trying to be actively recruited by the FBI. The FBI knew about this and was trying to recruit FANG FANG while she was currently compromising Eric Swalwell, even though it was well known that she had ties with China and had Chinese intelligence hidden and was keeping it secret. So we were trying to then take her into the FBI to then get Chinese information. And FANG FANG entered over here through a student visa. And we know this, and that they were indeed going FANG FANG bang bang with Eric Swalwell because the FBI warned him. Yes, the FBI, they knew and they gave him a warning of this, but he did not listen to the warning, and somehow, the people on the left still decided to keep him in the House Intelligence. In the House Intelligence, they somehow decided that this guy, well, he may be being compromised in a classic honeypot operation, and we know this, we are still going to keep him in the house and do what he wants to do because we're okay with it. We issued him a warning. Now it's up to him to listen to our warning and to stop this. So, yeah, we had a Chinese spy FANG FANG compromising Eric Swalwell, who the left thought would still be good to keep in the house, even though it was already known by the FBI that he is being compromised and that they are giving him illegal donations for favors. So, that's what happened there, and then it gets even crazier. What happens next? What happens next is then they flew and went back to China after all of this. And the important part about them going back to China is that we don't have an extradition treaty in China, which means that we could not expedite them to come back to the U.S. to actually then file charges and such against them to get them for what they were doing while working with the Chinese government at the time. and compromising someone within our government, and we knew, and somehow did not get in and charge them after he just completely ignored our warning, and was still kept, and they were still over here. He ignored the warning. It kept going. We know it was going on. So we should have got them while they were here instead of letting them flee to China. So this shows that with China, right now, it is not going to happen, of course. It is not. But once we get into a position where we can, we need to try to make a deal with China and create an extradition treaty with China, so then this loophole of, oh, I'm going to do this, and then fly back to China, it's like, oh, you can't expedite me now because I'm in China and you don't have a treaty to expedite over here. So after all of this war and such, we need to try and make a deal to get an extradition treaty with China, so if it happens again, we can show them we're not messing around and that we will get you, and this time we actually had the proper treaty, and the government over in China is not going to protect you this time because we agreed with them, and they're going to send you right back over here because we can expedite now. So that's what we need to do from this afterwards is, 1, issue a stronger warning, 2, take action if said warning is ignored by the people given to, and 3, we need to get a expedition treaty with China so that we can get the people back over here and not just have China be a scape for them to run back to because they can. So that is what is happening there on that end in terms of FANG FANG coming over here from China on a student visa and messing with Eric Swalwell and taking intel and other favors for donations and us knowing about it and basically doing absolutely nothing. Because the FBI issued a warning and the people on the left just decided that it is completely fine that he's doing this. He got a warning. That's all we can do. So they kept him in the house. And it's like, well, I guess you can do that, but it's like, you shouldn't. But hey, that's what they want to do. So if that's what they want to do, then that's what they're going to do. It's that simple. So that's why we need to go down harder and really take charge and do more than just a basic warning. We need to show what will happen if you do this again. Also, I told you what I think about what we should do, our simple 3-step plan I think we should do. Now, what do you think we should do? How do you think we should do this? Do you think that we should have went harder on them besides just a simple warning or not? Do you think we need to make a expedition treaty with China so they can stop using China as an easy getaway? Well, I don't know. So, let me know what you think, and if you think that we need to do this so it doesn't happen again and we can stop it before anything bad comes of it. So, that's the first big thing that started unraveling that we now have and know about to discuss. The second big topic we got is the Middle East. the president, he threatened to go off and bomb Oman if Oman did not get out of the way of what we were doing. And if they decided that they were going to stay in our way, we're going to drop the hammer on you and you're not going to like it. But we at least gave you a warning first, so you can't say we didn't blame you because we at least gave you a warning. So that's the first part of this, is that we issued a warning to Oman that if you don't get out of the way, we're going to drop the hammer on you. That's simple. Very easy to understand. Now that we have covered the first part of it, it has now come out that Senator Tim Kaine is filing war power resolutions to try to stop the president from going in and taking military action against Oman after we have threatened them, which is not good because we need to keep this up to show that what we say we're doing and we're not messing around. So we should be able to take military action against Oman to show everyone that if you get in our way, we'll give you a clear warning that we're going to drop the hammer on you. And if you don't listen, then we're going to do it. And everybody's going to see that we really meant it. And well, if you don't listen, well, you could be next. So we're not messing around here. That is what needs to happen and why Tim Kaine should not file his war power resolutions, which hopefully don't get through, because that would be terrible if they somehow got through and then we basically just threw out an empty threat for nothing because it got blocked by the left and the government, who is actively working against us alongside the deep state to try and just keep the president's plans all just going through so that way they can immediately get in, reverse all of it, change it back to how it was before, and on top of it, make things even worse than they were. Because, as we all know, the left just makes everything worse and they're actively trying to destroy America. So, we all know this. We can't let them in or else it is going to get worse for all of us, and the radical left is just going to run the country into the ground unless we can get some strong people in there that put America first, is against the radical left and the deep state, and not working with AIPAC. Because we need to secure our people and make sure that the radical left and the deep state do not accomplish their mission, or the country will become even worse and get taken over and invaded from having open borders, endless wars, and mass immigration from having the borders be open, which is what they want, which is why they're trying to just white out the presidency so then they can throw in the person that they want in there to then listen to them, help the deep state take over, undermine the president, and show the people that if this is what they want, they'll do it and they have the funding and power to do it. So That's why we need to actively go against the left and the deep state to make sure that if we're going to do something, we do it and get it done with. Nextly, we got, through unspecified sources, Russia is shipping explosives now to Iran to help replenish Iran's missile and drone stockpile that apparently is running low, so Russia is sending more over to them to help them to restock this for the war, which just goes to show you, like we already knew, Russia is actively helping Iran, not just with intel, but also with weapons, and they're trying to stockpile them so they will be secure, which is kind of crazy when they need a stockpile of their own over there in the country. Russia needs to try and focus a little more on making sure they have their stockpile ready, or else they won't be prepared for when they need it, because they're giving it to Iran to replenish Iran. And this all ties into it because they need to make sure they have a big supply of, missiles and drone stockpile, because it has now been released. And I heard about it. I remember a few weeks ago, and I think it was maybe a month ago, people called it absolutely crazy, but Russia is now planning to go at NATO. And we know this now because they're actively setting it up, which can be shown, such as how Putin is getting his warships with hypersonic missiles in the Baltic Sea to get prepared for, in the upcoming weeks, to then go in and strike NATO. And this is just what we know here on terms of ocean. This isn't even taking into account land, because Russia is already building secret bases that can launch drones deep within NATO. So they're already building secret bases within NATO that they can launch drones into. So they need to try and, if they're going to go through with this, try and keep their stockpile of drones prepared for the attack on NATO, rather than giving them to Iran. Because, well, if they give them all to Iran, what are they going to have? They're not going to have any, so then they can't send them into NATO. So they need to decide, are they going to stand strong and go against NATO, or are they going to continue helping Iran by sending over the missiles and drones to help stockpile Iran, instead of focusing on the mission of taking out NATO within their secret bases? And because of this, NATO has already drawn up a very detailed plan. NATO has drawn up a very detailed plan in order to make sure that they're prepared for this. And the plan is for Russia. The plan is that the concept shows Russia assault on the Baltics. So what they're going to do is have a drone defense zone that will be set up along the borders of Russia and Belarus. And they're going to be using this to cripple Russia's missile system, and by stopping the army near the alliance borders, they can create a drone-only defense wall alongside Russia and Belarus. So if we take a look, let me see. Yeah. So right here, if we take a look, we can see that this one, yes. If we take a look here, we can see what is happening is that the idea is Russia and Belarus invading Estland, Letland, Lithuania, and taking over it. So we're going to, they're planning to make a drone defense alongside the borders to operate within unmanned vehicles alongside the borders, or those to prevent them from going over and turning them into part of them, which is why the spread of red right here going across is not good, because that's what we're trying to prevent right now, is that spread of Russia into NATO and have them be taking over. So that is what's happening there, and what they're planning on doing there, and stopping the missile system and crippling it, because that is what they plan to do, is by crippling the missile system. They think they can just launch a drone attack on them, and that will be enough. But who knows? If you cripple the missile system, I don't think that the drone attack will be enough, because even if you drop the missile system and make it crippled, that's not going to matter too much in the big picture, at least to them, because to them, the big picture is that even if we don't have our missiles, we have drones and other such to counteract you, and we have foreign allies we can go to try and help us, and one of those foreign allies to come and help save them, potentially, probably would be Iran, because they are helping Iran right now in their war. So, by helping Iran in their war, they're helping build a strong alliance with Iran, which then they could then turn on to Iran and ask them for help and be like, hey, we helped you here. We did all of this for you. Now it's time for you to step in and help us. And if you don't, well, we're just going to hang over your head everything we did, and we can show you what happened if you decide to turn on us. So that is what is happening there in terms of Russia planning to strike and go against NATO, which was already reported on, and we knew about a few, like, I think a month ago. Yet, when it came out, people thought it was absolutely crazy. Russia striking NATO is absolutely crazy, people thought. People thought that the people knew this were absolutely crazy. Russia isn't going to strike NATO. They can't do this, blah, 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 all that stuff. And now it's like, well, take a look now and see what's happening. Who is right now? The one of us who knew and was prepared for this, we're not surprised, because we already knew that this is what was planning. And, Oh, this is big now happening. So NATO at about 6:04 a.m. this morning Eastern time, NATO launched a huge aerial operation around Russian Kaliningrad this morning with multiple reconnaissance aircraft. Let's see. Reconnaissance aircrafts and fighter jets. Okay. So, now NATO is now launching an operation going around Russia to see what is happening now. So, this is just going to get more interesting. And just about 30 minutes ago, well, now Russia is providing Iran not only with drones, but also drone components, explosives, and ammunition in order to quickly rebuild during the ceasefire, so that they can be prepared. And they're going through the Caspian Sea. So they're now planning and providing ammo to fire at U.S. bases that are over there and is ready. And now, with NATO having shown force around Kaliningrad, something within the next few days or next week will be happening really big between NATO and Russia. And it's going to get real good. And with how strong NATO is, well, I'm not sure Russia should be taking this fight with NATO, because this does not seem like one they can win. Especially with all of the people that we have allied with us to then go against them within NATO. So yes, that is what is going on there. And Britain apparently has hit Moscow threats over the British supplying drones now to go deep inside of Russia. So now Britain has told Russia that they're not backing down after getting hit by Russia, by hitting Russia deep within using drones. So yes, this is now getting interesting, because not only now are we having Russia preparing to go in to strike NATO and take out NATO, but now we also have the British now getting involved in attacking Russia deep from within. So now Russia needs to be careful, because now if they continue, it's going to be a tough decision between if they want to continue to go and plan to fight against NATO, or if they're going to stand ground and go against the British now that are going to attack them. So now they need to pick between NATO or the British, which it seems has already got it deep inside and is able to launch drones within. So they might want to prioritize that one over there on the British coming in and showing them what they can do. Yeah. So, who do you think Russia should prioritize in this between the British and NATO? I think what they should do is they should prioritize fighting the British, which they actually could have a good standing chance with taking them out, and just forget about NATO, because NATO is not going to walk for you. So they should just surrender, give up now in NATO before something happens, because we already know and have seen it that NATO is already has a plan drawn up, and now they're overlooking Russia with an operation of sending fighter jets to see what is happening today. So Oh, they ought to prepare. And also on top of that, NATO own forces have now entered within Kaliningrad today. So NATO is not only now having fighter jets operating over, but they also now have people within. So now, with people within, what can they find and what can they do? We'll have to see what they can do now, because they're now being taken from the inside by NATO insiders going in and finding out what they can, and potentially launching another drone attack within NATO by utilizing the people that they have within. So that is what is happening there in terms of Russia planning to target and strike NATO, which was already predicted, but people thought it was crazy. But now all of them who thought it was crazy, they're now being shown that they were the crazy ones for not thinking NATO and Russia are about to go at it. And we have now seen early signs that Russia is closing the borders. So this just shows that they are getting prepared now in the attack against NATO. So that is what is happening there in terms of Russia getting prepared to go in within the next week to start attacking NATO from with the inside, which, well, NATO now needs to step up and prepare, because now we know that, well, we're preparing this, and Russia needs to be on guard now, knowing that there are people within NATO that have infiltrated the country to find out what they need to know. So Russia better get prepared and pay attention to who is coming in and out now, because who knows who is with NATO and who isn't with NATO when you can just go in, which that goes right back into why you need to have a closed border, because this is what happens with open borders, is conflicts start and then it turns bad. So that's what's happening now in terms of NATO and Russia. And here we even have, now right here's some footage showing the ships and the helicopter and such going over to investigate and plan out. So right here, oh, here goes NATO. Ooh, we see your big scary ships in the ocean. Well, if you're gonna take the ocean, we'll take the sky. So yeah, this shows now that NATO is preparing, and we now know they've been spotted and they are preparing. And now we're going to be going to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back in a little bit. All right, and we are back now. So, it has now been found that what is planning now is that Russia, the foreign minister, has declared that Russia is now working with North Korea and are currently fighting to establish what they call a new and righteous world order. Interesting. A new and righteous world order. Well, that may sound good to them, but I know over here, we don't want Russia and North Korea going over top of us and telling us what we can and can't do in deciding whether or not it is righteous and that they are going to control the order, because we fought long and hard to break away from Europe long ago. So now they're trying to make a new and righteous world order. So now we need to prepare with other countries to start going against Russia and North Korea, because with those two, who knows what is going to happen with them. You get those two together, it'll be really interesting what happened between them, because, well, we don't know what will happen between them. So, what do you think is going to happen between North Korea and Russia working together to create this new righteous world order? I don't know, but it is a little surprising that they are working with North Korea when we have seen, and the president has been making it clear, that he is on good terms with the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un. So, well, by making it clear that he is on good terms with him, why exactly are they now turning against us when they were on good terms with us? That's just going to make things worse between us and North Korea, which we apparently are with good terms on. So we'll have to see about how that goes, and if they are actually going to do it, or if this is just them saying the usual stuff about war, taking over. We have this foreign ally now to help us. What are you going to do? Well, we'll just have to see. We will just have to see what they are going to do. And now, going on to what also is happening in the Middle East is it's been going big with the war and with the Strait. And with the Strait, the president is now saying that we have the Strait again. And it's like, do we really have the Strait again? Or are you just saying that we have the Strait again, even though it's pretty well clear and pretty obvious that we don't have the Strait? But yeah, apparently we do have the Strait, and the president even posted about it. If you look, the president, he even posted about taking it over on Truth Social, as you can see here, between the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf, right here, the Strait of Hormuz. According to the president now, it is new U.S. territory. So, apparently we have taken the Strait, and now it's U.S. territory. Now the question is, if we really have the Strait and declaring it ours, when are we going to rename it from the Strait of Hormuz to the Strait of America? That's the next question. Is, are we going to rename it to the Strait of America to let everybody know that, well, this is all straight now, and we have it, and you can't do anything about it. So that is that right there. And along with that, the president also recently put out this with him stating, we are going to win, which we've heard many of times already, but he's saying that we are going to win now. So we will have to see, is this just another ploy from the government saying we're going to win again, or are they actually trying to mean it this time and will actually take over and win? We will just have to see what is happening, along with the president also stating that there is no ongoing talks anymore with Iran, and we are not going to have any more talks with them. And he's ordered his team to avoid talks with Iran. But not only has he ordered them to avoid talks with Iran, he has also ordered them to avoid talks with Iran until, here's the catch, until the Tehran is ready to sign a deal. So, once they're finally ready to make a deal and actually keep their word this time and not just get rid of it like they have been and lying about it this whole time, until they're ready to actually sign a deal and make this official, his team has been ordered to avoid talks with Iran, because if you're not going to make a deal, then we're not going to talk to you. It's that simple. You want to make a deal? Come to us. That is what has happened there, alongside us apparently now taking the strait. And now also it has been brought up about the recent midterms coming up, and the government is planning on securing this election this time and making sure everything is all good, because they are going to be having monitors and having people make sure it's secure. They are going to be having monitors. Yes, right here it is. The Justice Department is planning to deploy over 1,000 election monitors in the U.S. for the November midterms. So they are planning to have over 1,000 monitors to make sure that this election is secure. The only thing is now is, are they going to use Smartmatic with it or not? On top of the now election monitors, to make sure that nothing happens in this election that shouldn't be, which we know well could happen, because it's been shown about our election being interfered with and taken over and such. So now we're going to have election voting monitors to make sure nothing happens. They are on that end. Nextly, on the Middle East, now we're having some big drama happening now between Israel and Turkey, which related to Turkey, where the president hopped out from the plane from the Air Force One to be transported. We found out that threat to take out the president actually probably wasn't even a threat at all. It was made up by Israel to get Turkey to think that Iran is planning to attack the president, to show the president in the United States that Turkey is the enemy and they can't be trusted, even though we're on good terms with Turkey. And this is because Israel is on bad terms with Turkey and declares them to be the enemy, which is why they made up this fake plot for taking out the president so that they could start to stir tension with Turkey, so then we would join them in going against Turkey, and Turkey becoming the enemy of the United States alongside the enemy of Israel, even though we're great friends with Turkey and we should keep that. We've told Netanyahu that we're good friends with Turkey, we're not going to mess with them, and he does not like that at all. So we need to double down and stand our ground with Turkey and let it be clear that we are on good terms with Turkey. And if you have an issue with Turkey, deal with it yourself, because we're not getting in on it. So, do you think that we should continue to be on good terms with Turkey or not? I think we should, because Turkey hasn't done anything to us that I know of recently. They seem to be just our own country, just kind of watching from the sidelines, making sure nothing bad is happening, and it is all well. And this can be shown because early this morning, Israel attacked Turkey assets in Syria. So now Israel is attacking assets that belong to Turkey now. So it's like you're trying to start a conflict now, even though they have not attacked you. You're trying to start a conflict with them now, so that you can get us into it and have us help you take out Turkey, which isn't happening. This isn't happening because we're going to be staying on good terms with Turkey, and we've already stated that we are good friends with Turkey and that we are not going to just turn on them for doing nothing. Alright, and now we're going to go back over to the Strait, which after we have claimed it, Iran said earlier that it will remain closed until we meet the deal terms and conditions. So, they're saying they had it, we're saying we had it, and apparently, according to the president, within the Strait, all the water mines have been removed or detonated. Which, if so, that's absolutely great. The question is that really what happened or not? Because who knows? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But that came before the president marked and posted about the Strait of Hormuz becoming new U.S. territory. So we're just going to have to see if that is actually going to happen, and Turkey is planning to send a message to Tel Aviv following the strike on the Turkey base in Syria to make clear to us and Netanyahu that Turkey is in a different league, which I'm not sure why you're targeting us so much, because like we're on good terms with you. That wasn't us that did it, that was Israel. So get mad at them. Don't get mad at us. Besides, we're still good with you, so we're fine. Let's just keep that going and then we'll be fine. That's what they want to do. We weren't involved. Just leave us out of this. We're not going to get into a fight with you unless you do something to start a fight with us. It's that simple. So as of right now, Turkey is going to just be possibly issuing a warning to Israel before Israel decides to go and take their time and really escalate this war to new heights. And, yeah, to escalate the war to new heights and to get us into it, which that's not happening, so we're okay with it. If that's what they want to do, then that's what they want to do, then that's fine with us. They can just do what they want, and we'll be okay. So just leave us out of it, and we're all good. That is what is happening now in terms of Turkey and Russia going at, not Turkey and Russia, Turkey and Israel going at it now and being on bad terms, unlike us, which are on good terms with them. So we'll just have to see if they can continue to keep good terms, or if they're going to start and turn against us, which they shouldn't. Just like how Israel should actually listen to our peace treaties, being the only ally trying to actually help them instead of letting them just get blown off the planet. Which, well, I mean, it'd be bad for them, but at the same time, there wouldn't be all this war. So, I mean, there are pros and cons to it. It just depends where you look at it. There's the cons that, well, yeah, they're gone. It's no longer here. And then there's the pros that, well, we don't have them hanging over our government now, and then they're not controlling it and just having free reign, doing whatever they do with the Prime Minister Netanyahu, which will be getting replaced in October, which, well, that's a good thing. That is a good thing happening right there, is that he's going to be getting out, and we will no longer have to be dealing with him being in the office and just doing whatever he wants to do. So now, from the inside, the U.S. plans on attacking Iran starting Friday. So, starting Friday, we are going to be striking Iran. At least that is the plan that is coming out right now. And following this, the U.S., we are also considering reducing our military inside the Gulf after the Iranian strikes. So we're planning on possibly pulling out of the strait, which, well, that'd be good. Maybe, hopefully we can have it, or we can make a deal with them about having the strait again, which that's not going to happen, because they are not going to want to settle with us until basically, if we just cut off Israel, that would pretty much be it. We cut off Israel, and that pretty much would just get us out of it. They don't want us anyway, so yeah, it would cut us out of this, get us good. And there has now been ballistic missile attacks against the UAE. Ooh, interesting. So now, oh yeah, we're saying that Israel is behind the Syria strikes, of course, because we didn't want to do it, so they did it. And that is a big thing right there, coming from us stating that, hey, it wasn't us, and it was actually them. So yeah, that's really good. That's really good that we are now showing and telling people that it's not us doing it, or not listening to him about just going at everyone. It's him doing what he wants on going on his crazy rampage of wanting to take over. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what exactly happens there in terms of the UAE now being struck by Israel and such. Let's see here. Oh, the peace deal also recently with us expired and hit the deadline. So that just completely went away now, and they're not going to be trying to settle peace with us now. And what we did have a going for us ended up just basically ending now, and it's not going to be renewed because they don't want to renew it. And until they're ready to settle, we're not renewing it either. So they better be prepared about what they want to do in terms of this, or else. Also, by the way, anybody watching, whether you're on Kick, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, make sure to hit the like and follow button, or the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. But make sure though to follow to keep up with what's going on starting Monday through Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to follow so that you know when we go live with what's happening, and find out what really is happening and going on that the major news companies for fake news are not telling us, because they don't want to dig deeper and then reveal the truth of what is actually happening in the country. So, yeah, make sure to stick around while we uncover the truth of what is really happening and what the fake news is saying is happening, because they're working within the deep state along with the left. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what exactly is going to happen in terms of that right now, because, well, it's gonna be something. So we currently are on the rise, it seems now, of Russia being in potentially now, instead of just one war, 3 wars. The war for Ukraine, of course, that one. But also potentially a war against the British, and on top of this, a war with NATO, which is planning to happen here soon within the next few days. So we'll just have to see what is happening right now, and we'll just have to wait to see what comes up next time in this, in which war are they going to take, which one they going to stay in. Are they going to, of course, they're probably going to continue the Ukraine war, but then are they going to get into it with the British, or are they going to get into it with NATO, or get themselves caught in between 3 different wars that they cannot handle? We will just have to see and figure out what is going to happen there, and who they really want to take out and really focus the objective onto. So that is what they're doing there. And okay. So now it has come out now that so now Putin and them are saying that they are ready to respond to any threat from NATO or Europe. So Russia is now going and issuing a warning that they are prepared against any threat now coming against them. So we'll just have to see what threat comes our way first that they feel they need to deal with, and how they're going to deal with it in terms of, do they need to go boom, 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 pow, 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 pow to them, or can they settle it peacefully? It's probably not going to be peacefully. It's probably going to be boom, 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 boom to everybody, so that they can keep up the momentum and have them slowly stall out the opponents unless they choose people that are weaker with them. So yeah, any threat that comes their way, it seems now they are prepared for. But at the same time, they ought to be prepared, though, just in case, though, because what if we come in with NATO, and it's like, well, now you're going to have to fight us alongside NATO, and we'll just absolutely blow you out of the water. And that's simply it. We'll send in the Navy, blow you out of the water, send over the Air Force, take the skies, leave you with nothing, and put Russia back in its place underneath us, and how it should be, because we should be the ones on top. Unlike Russia, China, and Iran currently at the time, in terms of going against Israel, which is very, very disliked at this time. So we'll just have to see what happens and what develops in the next upcoming days on what is happening. And okay, so the president stated that there is no talks taking place with Iran and none are scheduled. Okay, so we knew that until they plan a deal, we're not going to be messing or talking with them until they're ready to come to the table and actually sign a deal to settle this. So it's not surprising we're not in talks with them, because now they're going to need to come to us and try to settle this, because we're done playing around. We are done messing around, having you tell us we're going to make this deal, it's going to be all right, and then we're going to turn our back on your deal and show you what is really going to happen, because Israel can't take the hint that if you just listen to us, this war could be over and you don't have to expand, because you are not necessarily that big that you need to expand all the way outwards and take over like what happened before. Because, like what you've done, you're going to start a world war, which is why we're in World War III right now alongside Israel, because they dragged us into this war that they started and want to keep us in. So, we need to simply get out of this and find a way to stop them from wanting to expand. And then hopefully when it happens in October and they get a new prime minister, they can get somebody who can actually think and realize we don't need to expand. We don't need to expand to take over. We need to start declaring that there were no Palestinian state or Palestinians in the first place, and just simply let them be who they are and just settle this, because they are there, they have their own state, And if he would just stop this, maybe people more and more would actually begin to like you instead of simply wanting you blown out of the water and having us, the United States, be your only ally in this, because everybody else is against you because they know what you're really like and how that you're going to do things. So we need to stop. It's that simple. We simply need to stop, and then in October have them pull out of Lebanon and Gaza, settle this, and then just have it be all peaceful. And then have Netanyahu here on the side looking at the new prime minister, tearing apart what he was doing, getting absolutely mad and furious that the new prime minister going in realized that, well, we don't need all of this, and, well, who knows what he was doing. And that's why the people don't want him over there, because they see now what he really wants to do and how he was going to go about it, which is not good. And if it wasn't for us, it could end up like what happened way back in like Germany and Russia. We could go in and he could either take the pills or he can get captured and brought in for questioning to find out what he is really wanting to do, which we already know what he's wanting to do, but we can find out more information on why he is doing this and what sort of deal he has made and such that he needs to do this, because him just wanting to basically expand out of nowhere, there was something going on that he thinks should need this. So, obviously, there's something or someone telling him they need to do it, and there's more to this than simply Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Because we know that there is more to it than that. We know this. And plus, they aren't very good when it comes to realizing how close they actually are. Because if you look back into like the late 90s or mid 90s, is like, by the time the year 2000 come, based off what Netanyahu had said, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon at least 2 or 3 times before 2000 that he has said. Because first it was like a few months off from having one, then it was like in the next few years, and he basically just kept re-upping it, like, oh, it got delayed, so it'll be in the next few years, or like, oh, it's going to be in the next few months. And it's like, well, who is telling you this? Because they obviously don't know what they're doing, which is why they need people like us in our government who can actually go in, find out what's happening, and realize that these people are saying this is crazy, and they're not as close as whatever your intel is actually saying, because yours is not correct, because they would have already had, before 2000, at least 2 or 3 nuclear weapons, and yet somehow since 95 they have still managed to be stuck at 0. So why exactly are they closer now than they were back then and still accomplish nothing? You would think after over 20 years, if they've been doing this, they would have finally achieved it. Like, what? How are they this far behind when they've been doing it for over 20 years? It makes no sense where he is getting this from, because why would he keep saying that they are this close when They are indeed not that close. And you just keep repeating it over and over for the last 25 years, which really goes to show your information and intelligence needs to be better because they don't know what they're talking about. Because they keep telling you, oh, they're this close, they're this close. And then it's always like, well, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And it's like, well, then maybe here in the next few years. And it's like, oh, it didn't happen now. Oh, maybe here in the next few years again. And it's like, he just keeps stating it. It's like, are they really as close as you're saying, or are you just saying this to get the people to turn against Iran because you want to take out Iran? I think it should be obvious at this point they simply don't care really about the nuclear weapon. It's just using the idea of Iran possibly having a nuclear weapon here as a way to use as a cover-up for them really just wanting to have Iran gone and claim Iran for themselves. But instead of saying that they want Iran for themselves and that they want to just go in to take it, they're declaring that they can't have a nuclear weapon and that they're really close to it, so they can use that as a cover-up to get people on their side and why they should be against Iran instead of simply wanting to go with them, because they know if it's just them saying they want to, people won't get behind them, which is why they have to make a massive cover-up stage as the war against nuclear weapons instead of just coming out and saying what they want to actually say. So that is what is happening there. And now we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, and I'll be back here in a little bit. Alright, and we are back. Okay, there we go. Alright, there we go. Now, let's see what is happening next. Oh, okay. I remember that was, yeah. Whoa. That is insane. What? Wow. That is absolutely crazy, looking at this map of all the Catholic churches in Poland, which I'll pull up here real quick. I'm going to just bring this over here, like so, and now, like you can see here, like, wow. That, like, whole thing is, like, covered. The whole thing is basically just covered. Like, they have them everywhere. Like, that's kind of crazy that there's that many, especially over there. And it's like, well, that's what you get when you limit immigration and don't have just an open border. You don't get malls covering the whole country with over like 1,700. Instead, you get something like this, which is how it should be. But it's not, because, well, other countries are having open borders, letting people in, getting flooded, and then having to get rid of them because they didn't want them to be coming in and invading. So, yeah, this is what it should look like here, but it's probably not. Just like how in Europe it should also be like that, but instead, if you look over at Europe, instead of being like that, instead of being Catholic churches, instead it's basically just mosque, because of where they have been taken over, basically. And yes, so that's how it should be, and we need to make sure that we don't get to the point where it is like that here, or else things are gonna really go downhill, especially if we end up going to an open border. Then things will really become a lot worse, and then we'll need to have a group to rise up like the new IRA in Ireland. But unlike them, if we do this, we need to find a way to do it peacefully and not get into violence with them, because if we get into violence with them, then they're going to use that back at us and then make us look like the bad ones. So if there is violence, well, we need them to start it first and go from there. And we know that they will, because it's been over in Poland, because they don't really allow Muslims to immigrate over there. It has been shown that they have indeed been complaining about not being allowed in the country, which, I mean, is completely understandable. And they're complaining about it, which means that they want to do it, but they can't. And Poland luckily knows that, well, this is how it should be, and if we don't stop them, we're going to lose what our culture and such is, and basically just become another country for them to claim instead of their own country, which is kind of crazy that they keep like going like away from their own country. Like, why? Like, is your own country that bad? Like, why is it like so bad that you need to like flee and come over to us or to Spain or wherever, rather than maintaining your own country. It's like, so you couldn't maintain your country, so you're going to come over and start ruining other ones. Okay, got it. Got it. So that's what your plan is to just start breaking, other countries and having them become like your home country. Okay, I understand. Makes sense. It does make sense about what the idea is, but there is a way to prevent it and limit immigration and close the border. That is the thing that will help solve this issue and prevent it from happening in the first place. So that's what we need to do, is we need to close the border, tighten up the military on the border, and withdraw from the war with Iran and focus on the border like we should, and double down on making sure they don't get in. And I heard that we are actually planning on making a second wall. Yes, we're planning on making a second wall on the border, which, well, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Maybe we could get that done sooner and faster if we withdraw from Iran. It's that simple. We withdraw with them. We send them over to the border. We get the second wall up and we make our border secure so we can't have people just coming in and out, in and out, in and out as they want to. So, yeah, we need to really make sure that we go through with this and make sure we get out of this the next chance we get, which should be in October. So, yes. So, that is what's happening there. So now, what we're going to do is, since that is what's going on right now, we're just going to now call it here. So, tomorrow, I'll be gone. So, I'll be back on Thursday, the 20th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll see you Thursday, and goodbye.